All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Kings Bourbon Podcast. I am Shane Burks. This is
Bryce Wilson.
Tucker Schroeder.
We are excited to be here at Happy Hour Bar and Liquor Store. I would know what episode we're on, but I do not. It's been a lot of them.
It'll be in the video description, I'm sure. So y'all can just look and see.
We'll have it in there somewhere.
It's funny that none of us know what episode.
Forgive me, but we've been here a few times. Excited to be back.
Right.
So we've got a lot to discuss today.
Yeah.
So Tuck, you want to go ahead and get into bourbon news?
Yeah. I think there is some interesting things going on with some of our distilleries here in Kentucky. We're starting to see some of the big boy distilleries tap into the American Single Malt category. So
Big dog.
not bourbon, but a new whiskey category that is definitely growing. American Single Malt, for anybody curious, similar to Scotches over in Scotland and in Europe. Single malt is literally just malted barley whiskey, essentially. So one grain that goes into that whiskey. But the twist on the American Single Malt category is they're putting those in new charred oak barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So they're essentially putting Scotch distillate in new charred oak barrels to give it that American.
It's kind of bridging the gap between a lot of Scotch drinkers and traditional bourbon drinkers, which
definitely.
for me is a gap that I want to bridge myself. I don't know a ton about Scotch. I've had a few Scotches. I find some similarities in certain whiskeys that I enjoy.
Have you enjoyed them?
Yes and no. I don't necessarily. I'm still feeling around for my preference on Scotch. I can tell you on bourbon all day, but I think it's cool because that's something I'm interested in. So some of these single malts might be somewhat of a segue for me from bourbon into a little bit of more Scotch profile.
Yeah. Well, Bulleit just announced their American Single Malt coming out. It has a lot of people excited. It's at a 90 proof point, which is lower proof, similar to what Scotch would present. And they're saying that it's going to be a little bit older than some of the single malts that we see on the market right now. So I think the thing for me with single malts, I know Jim Beam has one, the Clearmont Steep.
Mm-hmm.
Got to try that one. I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't love it either. Like it was just, it almost felt incomplete. Like it didn't feel like it was there yet. But also we don't drink a lot of Scotch or single malt. So
sure,
I guess our perception of the single malt could be a little skewed there.
My experience with Scotch in general hasn't been necessarily a good one.
Yeah.
As a somewhat of a spirit enthusiast, as I can consider myself now, it's definitely something that I want to tap into. But more than anything, like I really appreciate the innovativeness that people have brought to the spirits industry.
Right.
I think that that's something that definitely draws people in. And me as a bourbon drinker, like I am a bourbon drinker, I think that it would draw me to drink other spirits, such as Scotch.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that's really enticing. And maybe just like you guys were talking about, I haven't had a good experience with a Scotch yet, but maybe that experience is to come. And with big dogs doing stuff like that, maybe I could find that for sure. So, to be determined.
Absolutely. And you got to get used to things for what they are. And that sounds extremely vague, but I'll get into that a little bit. Like, I mean, for us with bourbon, we're looking for complexity.
Yeah.
We're looking for, maybe more than a one-dimensional flavor profile. And not that Scotch or a single malt can't provide that. It's just that you have to enjoy it for what it is. Back to my original statement. We enjoy bourbon for the artistry and craft of what that spirit is meant to be. When you're highlighting maybe a single malt or a different type of grain that you're used to, you enjoy that profile for what it is because, especially when you try enough bourbons and you try a lot of similar bourbons, you start to get a little bit of flavor fatigue as well too.
Yeah.
And, you don't necessarily desire it or you get a little, monotony into your spirits.
I mean, hell,
choice.
We're going through that right now. We were just pre-episode.
Yeah.
We're all just talking about like how we haven't been diving into as much bourbon lately. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
We're damn near still in the middle of high bourbon season. Because, and that's generally created because of the weather. But, I feel like each person has their own experience with bourbon. And, it can have its ebbs and flows and whatnot. So
yeah,
absolutely. And as much as we enjoy it, like Shane said, we don't always drink bourbon all the time. Like guys or people or whoever is like, what do you have? What do you have every night? Or what do you have? I'm like, I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. But I enjoy the fact that there are some new things that maybe, challenge my palate and are kind of enticing me to sip and taste a little bit, outside of my profile. So For example, when I was in Colorado back in December, Stranahan's, I believe, was a single malt.
Yep.
I was looking for a bourbon. They had a Stranahan single malt whiskey, and I said, you know what? I got it's closest to what I'm looking for right now. And I was really enjoying that.
Yeah.
That was really, really good. So that was kind of like one of those, it was born out of necessity, but it's kind of forcing my hand at maybe trying some different things.
No, definitely. I think I'm excited for the possibility of like that bridge type of whiskey where with the single malts, we're still getting new charred oak barrels. So we should still see some of those, char and deep sugar notes, but the actual grain itself, that malted barley is going to give us maybe some funkier things to go after and things that Scotch lovers like and bourbon drinkers don't, and vice versa. So
let me ask one more question to wrap this segment up. I don't know too many Scotch drinkers personally. I know I discussed this with Sophie's dad, and he was really into Scotch.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that all Scotch drinkers like bourbon or could like bourbon, but not all bourbon drinkers would or could like Scotch?
Yeah, I think the difference with Scotch is you have two classifications of Scotch in itself, where you have peated Scotch and you have non-peated Scotch. And the peated Scotch is obviously going to be your very smoky and savory Scotches that I don't necessarily care for. I haven't had one that I've enjoyed. I've had a couple. The non-peated ones are going to be softer, sweeter, low proof, but not really super complex. And I think for Scotch drinkers, I think when they drink bourbon, I think they're like, whoa, this is too sweet, too spicy, too much going on type of thing. And I think for vice versa to bourbon to Scotch, I think bourbon drinkers will drink Scotch and will be like, well, this is weird, smoky, doesn't taste right. There's no sweetness. Like, I don't want to drink this type of thing. So that's just my take on that.
Honestly, I don't know, Shane. I think it depends on, obviously it depends on the person, of course. But I think, that led me to think of a few other things. Is so one I've heard, and again, I haven't done a lot of research on this, just heard, but that Scotch is one of the number one drinks of choice in India, alcoholic drinks of choice in India. So you look at the population there, so you see how much Scotch is being consumed there. And then you look at, Japan, you see a lot of Japanese whiskey, and you see things like that. So I think it's cool because this is, something else that may be bridging the gap and some stuff like that. Imagine taking, we've seen some Japanese collabs, especially with some, some master blenders, things of that nature. But like, how cool would it be if we're starting to get, some Japanese whiskey and a, I don't know, in a Scotch blended or a single malt in an American. So I think that there's a lot of things on the horizon that are gonna connect different people to different flavors. So like right now there may be a lot of, just pure bourbon drinkers, or I don't like Scotch, or I don't like that. But well, what if we mix it with this and that and do this unique finish? So I say that to say that right now I think there's a lot of preconceived notions of whether people think they like it or not, whether you're a Scotch enthusiast or bourbon. But I think that we're going to start seeing some combinations of flavors, whether it's Japanese whiskey, Scotch, American, whatever, single malts, to kind of put that all together. But that's
where the innovation can really bring people together.
Absolutely.
But yeah, for sure. I know people across the pond really like Scotch, but I'm not one of them guys. But that's
maybe one day, maybe this will, maybe it's connected, and you'll be to your question, you'll be a bourbon drinker that starts to enjoy some Scotch. Well,
we do not have Scotch on the table.
We don't have Scotch on the table. Today is Bourbon Day still, as always it is for us. So I guess I'll kind of kick this off. Go ahead, get a nose on it already. This is a really fun, new, exciting brand. And on top of the excitement that they're bringing to the bourbon industry right now, it's also phenomenal. All the things that I've had from Dark Art so far, based in Lexington, Kentucky, has been really, really good. There's definitely some artistry behind that. And I think a lot of that is Mr. Macaulay Minton, who we met briefly at BourbonCon, and I've seen some interviews and things that he's done, and it's been really interesting to see what he's done with this brand. I believe he's got another co-owner who I've not met as well. But attention to detail of the whiskey is very evident when you taste it and try it. But I will say the attention to detail on the bottle is also incredible. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Japanese practice of kintsugi, it is filling gold in cracked spaces. So you've seen a little bit of just some kintsugi, the practice of kintsugi here, and there's 7 different representations of the distillation fermentation process that's on the bottle as well. So there's definitely some imagery that means something on here. So you can definitely see that this is a project that is that is very intentional. And I think that carries over into the whiskey. A lot of times you see a bottle like that, but the whiskey suffers because people are so worried about packaging. I think this is one that provides both from the products that I've had so far.
You know, it always means something when there's deeper meaning. And it's always the best, just like you're saying. I'm just re-saying what you said. But when someone puts like their heart and energy and their artiste into the bottle, the juice, the whole brand, like you can see that, you know, somebody's pouring their soul into this. Yeah. And this is like their baby. That means something that's different, you know, rather than, excuse me, but like going and just picking up a bottle of Buffalo Trace, going and picking up a bottle of Four Roses, whatever. You get a guy who, you know, this is his brand, and if he may have a co-owner, but, you know, he's putting his heart and soul into this. And that makes a difference, you know?
Yeah, and it's cool because you also, like, you know, the theme, like having the gold in here, right? And then, like, I believe on the website, it's like got him as like co-owner and like chief alchemist. So, like, there's this, like, you know, with the dark arts and like some type of like wizardry and like, I don't know, there's just a whole different like mystique created around this that has been done very well. So, I really very much enjoy kind of the vibe of this bottle. There's nothing really like it right now.
Yeah.
And with that being said, go ahead and officially get our noses.
Yeah, I've been nosing it for a little bit now.
I guess you'd probably be ready to go first. Then, right?
I've been.
Give me a little time.
My breather's been deep in it. Obviously, so this is the French oak stave finish, correct?
Yes,
so,
and I think it's a very specific type of French oak, which I'm not going to begin to say, but I'll gladly pass that to you.
Toasted Jubilees.
I couldn't figure out how to say it, brother.
Jubilees Fleur French oak stave. So
y'all give us a enunciation in the comments.
Please do.
I'll say this though, like, and obviously you also said it's MGP. What was it?
It says distilled in Indiana, so I mean, naturally I would assume that it discloses that it is distilled in Indiana on that particular bottle. I don't know if all the juice is. Yeah, and I'm just assuming again out of Indiana. So I don't know.
So like, this is the nose on this is definitely very sweet. I think if it's the typical MGP mash bill, I don't know if it's going to be the low rye or the higher rye here, but
and I think it's also blended maybe as well too. I think that's the entire point. He does a very good job at maybe taking some blends.
It's delicious. I think it's got those typical French oak characteristics. We've had a few French oaks in our lifetimes, and a lot of like deep vanillas. Really like one thing I always get with French vanilla, or French staves, ironically, is like a French toast. So like,
are you sure your brain's not just telling you that because you said French?
It might be.
It might be.
I don't know.
I see what you mean though. I get a vanilla bean specifically, like a somewhat of a spiced vanilla. And then this is 108 proof, so not a ton of ethanol on the nose for me. But almost like a vanilla baked good. Like if you had a vanilla bread. I mean, we say baked goods a lot, but that's, you know, a lot of your traditional bourbon notes are gonna come from, you know, some type of baked goods, spices, that sort of thing. But the vanilla is very deep and heavy on this nose for me.
On the nose, I'm almost like envisioning like you ever seen like you go to like a fancy bakery and they have like baked goods with like flowers and stuff. It's almost like that.
Look at an elegant nose.
Yeah,
it's like a fancy nose. I see why you say that.
Baking spices, some floral hits for me. But it's pleasant. But it also has like a savory bourbon funk to it.
Yeah, there's something
that I
there.
appreciate.
Yeah, there's definitely something. I was gonna say, like, I didn't know if this was like crazy, but to me, I get like a carrot cake and like cream cheese frosting.
Cream cheese is like, I see why there's
like,
almost like
it's got that like fatty.
I agree, 100%.
Kind of like, and cream cheese is like, I guess, kind of funky in a way. It's
kind
of
interesting. I think cream cheese is,
you know what I mean?
It's a good funk.
Like it's got like a good like savory type of.
And for you all who are maybe not big bourbon people, I promise we're not crazy. We really do smell these notes and these things. I bring that up because the other day I was saying something and somebody was like, yeah, right. Well, when I first started watching videos like this or whatever, I was like, these guys are making this stuff up. Yeah. But really, I promise that's what we're smelling. I'm just putting that out there. It takes a while. We've sniffed I don't know how many whiskeys. So it takes a minute. But at first, you can't necessarily decipher, you know, notes all the time. But
Tuck, you want to kick?
Yeah, I think for me, like, certainly very pleasant and in that fancy. I don't know if I get like, I definitely feel like it's a little astringent in areas. Like off rip, it's like a little like in your face, and then it kind of smooths out into that cream cheese type of thing. So like, for me,
for you?
I think this is like a 3-1 nose.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
really?
I think the astringentness at first kind of draws me back, but I like what I'm picking up out of it.
I think I'm going to be a lot higher than you, Tucker.
Yeah,
I understand kind of what you're saying, but I don't think I'm getting as any type of punch maybe or initial kick or whatever it is that you're feeling. I see what you mean, but not that bad to where it's off-putting for me. So that being said, I'm going to give this, man, I'll be honest, considering this is 108 proof too is also really nice. I'm not sniffing a full proof bourbon.
That's a good
I got to give this a 3.8 crowns out of 5 on the nose, maybe 4. 4. Give me 4. Yeah, I mean, because the reason I'm thinking about that again is because of the proof point. If I didn't know what this was and I just sniffed it, I'd say 3.8. Knowing this is 108 proof, this is not a full proof. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
From my perspective,
I can settle that.
It's usually more likely that Bryce and Tuck agree, or I and Tuck agree, but me and Bryce
you,
agree,
and then Tucker being the odd man out doesn't happen a lot.
That's rare.
I bounce between 3.8 and 4, so I'm at 3.9. So yeah, I'm right with you. I
gave it a 4 for the proof. I think,
it's a pleasant nose. I really
agree.
enjoy it. I think it's something that I can nose up consistently and be like, wow, I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
For sure. So
hey, let's go to the fun part, fellas.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to rock, man. I've been sniffing this, and we've obviously all had this before, but it's been a little bit. So this is nice to revisit this bottle.
Yeah. I mean,
that's good bourbon.
Yeah.
That's just good bourbon.
And so this is what I recognize. Like I recognize this from the first time I tried it, and I feel the same way. If you told me this wasn't finished in French oak staves, I would believe you. Like to me, it definitely flows, and it feels like just a really high quality.
Yeah.
And like 108 proof right there, that's solid.
I think that's quite delicious, to be honest. I mean, like that is the best way I can describe that. Like it's somewhere in between. We say this sometimes. We say savory. A lot of times you hear us talk about sweeter notes. This is almost walks the line, dead center of those things to me. I'm getting this sweet, savory, a little bit of oak on the back end. It's very creamy. It's texture rich. This is a delicious bourbon. It's very, in my opinion, I like this. And a lot of times I'll put stuff on ice. I've had this on the rocks. I prefer this particular pour neat by far. I think that this expresses itself neat just as well as it needs to.
The front end was really like elegant for me, and I appreciated that. And then it was almost like a punch of I'm not going to say flavor. I don't feel like it was a punch of flavor, but I feel like it was just a punch of body. Like
there's definitely something to it.
It was like
It's full.
like a crescendo. Yeah.
It
was like
Is a crescendo a French word? Crescendo? No, it's Italian.
I even hope that's the right
Italian.
word, honestly. I think it
Well, crescendo is up. Decrescendo goes down.
Well, it was the opposite of a crescendo.
It built up. No. It was crescendo goes up.
What is a crescendo?
Decrescendo goes down. It's like
I don't know. I was just trying
it either
to
ramps up or ramps down.
Oh.
I was trying to be, but for what I'm saying, it started off very light and then quickly ramped up, and I really like that from the mouthfeel and body standpoint of it. Flavor profile, still working on it.
I think that is delicious to me, though. Like I keep saying that word because I'm trying to think of another descriptive word, and as plain as delicious is, it's just that simple to me. I think it's just a really good bourbon. I don't know if you guys are ready. I can rank it now. I think we'll come to you last, Shane. I know you're still sitting on that. But again, I've also had this before. It's not like this is the first crack. This bottle's also been open for a while, which is good. It's it's aerated quite a bit. It's not a fresh pour or fresh crack of the bottle. But honestly, just the taste, nothing about the finish yet. We'll get into that. Obviously, just the flavor of this bourbon at 108 proof. The bottle is semi-pricey, but I think it's worth it. I think I bought this somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know exactly what MSRP on it, but it was 90-ish, 90 to 95. I have to consider that. Yeah. I hate to always put price into it, but I would like this to be, if at all possible, maybe more like $70, right? But realistically speaking, 20. It would be nice. 20 would be great. Yeah. But we include all those factors, but I still think that I would buy this bottle again. I think it's worth it. So I still have to consider all those things. It's totally worth it to me. taste, with everything considered, 4.2 grams out of 5. I'll be honest.
Wow.
I know.
I was thinking you were going with that.
No, I know it. And typically, I drink in the higher proof, and I've been on some different profile recently, but something about this has just grabbed my attention. Yeah. And you look at the dent I put in the bottles.
No, you've definitely. I've
enjoyed it.
When we first tried this bottle, you definitely have you definitely drank quite a bit of it, so I understand you enjoy it. I'm not there. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, let me again preface. I like it. It's good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sniffing at it, I am sniffing at it, but I'm not like frustrated with it by any means. I think when I first drank it, you mentioned like an elegant note. I think it's like that vanilla bean. It's just like you're eating like vanilla ice cream, like vanilla bean ice cream. It's very good. Yeah. And then I get something tannic, like something punches me similar to in that mid palate, and I just don't love it. And then it kind of finishes off with like a graham cracker, which is very good. Like it's good. And I think the proof point is really good. I think 108
you got it right.
Is very good. I think that's perfect for this blend in particular. Mm-hmm. But for me, that tannic note doesn't do it for me to like rank it higher.
I understand that though.
I don't know if that's just like with the staves and the oak, if it's just a little overly oaky for me.
For your profile.
For my profile. But with all that being said, I am in line with my no score, 3-1 on the palate. So
understandable. And I understand that. Quite often, if we have different notes or different scores like that, we're like, whoa, that's crazy. Yeah. I see why you say that. Mm-hmm. It just fits what I enjoy. Yeah. So that makes sense. But I'm curious to see what Shane's got.
I feel like the flavor, like really picking up flavor profile notes is lacking for me. Mm-hmm. And that kind of takes my score down just a bit.
Like being able to identify what you think
not even necessarily the ability to have identification within the bottle, but just the fact that like it's nothing that's really standing out. Like it's just not like, wow, this is flavorful. Yeah. The as I've said before, the body of the juice I really enjoy. I really like the mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. It is quite elegant. Like it is an elegant pour. It is a high quality pour. And for that aspect, I give it a 3.4 crowns. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. I think that okay, it's hard for me. I'm the one that's always like, if it was finished in this, I would like it.
Yeah.
But this is a finished bourbon. I just would like some more.
Yeah.
I've had some dark arts pours before, specifically the Amberana.
Yeah, that is delicious.
And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she was like, "I'm far from an Amberana drinker," and that's cool. But if Amberana is your cup of tea, the dark arts Amberana is something special.
I need to tap on that one.
It was really good. If you came to BourbonCon, you got some, but it was 2 Kings that day. But nah, just kidding. But yeah, 3.4. And I'll go ahead and tap into the finish.
Yeah.
Just like Tuck said, kind of like a graham cracker finish, almost like cheesecake.
Yeah.
In a sense. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the finish is there. Like it is pretty lasting.
Yep.
And for that, I'm gonna give it a 4 flat.
Yep.
I actually really like the finish. If it had more flavor on the back end, probably be a 5. Like I'm not kidding. Because it's lasting.
It's fair, yeah.
But it's not super, super flavorful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change or any complexity to it. But I really enjoyed the finish.
Well, we'll go down the line. I'll go next on it. So you guys are probably going to think I'm going to rave about the finish and all that. This is actually my least favorite part about this bourbon. Okay. And I've got a reason for that. I think the length of the finish is phenomenal. I'm tasting that like I'm still drinking it right this second. Like I feel like I have some bourbon in my mouth. Excellent. I like the coat on my tongue. I think it's thick, especially for 108 proof. Right. We say that like that's. I'm not saying that's a crazy low proof, but a lot of times you see that out of your 120s, 130s, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. What I am getting on part of that finish is what I think you all are getting kind of in the middle of the palate. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's taking me a little longer to recognize that flavor, but I'm getting that punch at the end that I don't necessarily care for. Yeah, I'm getting like a tannic finish. It's like I'm getting this finish of what it wants to be. Like I'm getting some sweetness around it, and I'm still getting some of that graham cracker-ish, vanilla, lasting, thick cream cheese type of deal.
I got to note this.
But then there's like this, there's this tannic bit that's shining through that's kind of like, man, I don't care for that. Yeah. And I think that I'm not seeing that in the middle of the palate. That's why it's so delicious to me, because I'm not getting the part that I don't care for yet. So with that being said, it's still not a bad finish because of the length and because of the mouthfeel. So I'm going to have to say 3.3 crowns out of 5 for me as far as the finish goes.
Before you go, can you guys explain tannic?
So like,
because I know what tonic is.
Yeah. So like tannic, as far as in like, okay, so those are like, when I say like astringent notes in barrels, so like those tannins are essentially like, essentially what you would consider like bitter notes, or if you were thinking of like sharp notes, like some people say when they drink Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, sometimes they'll drink it and they feel like they're smelling like an expo marker. Like it's almost like fumes.
There's like a bit. It's from the wood though. Like a lot of wines, like people will describe wines as tannic.
I don't know if I'm picking that at all.
Drying is the best way to describe it. Like if it dries your mouth.
Okay, like red, like
dry
red.
and bitter.
Yeah, like red wine. Like that dry red wine is tannic.
If anything, it's getting sweeter for me.
Yeah.
So you're not feeling it. Yeah.
I disagree with you guys.
Yeah.
But
well,
that is.
You know what's interesting though is for me, this is first of all, this is interesting because we're all kind of all over the place in different parts. This is one of the more complex
for sure
things for me because with that being said, Shane, now long lasting after the fact, after that tannin goes away from me, that leaves me, the sweetness stays longer.
Yep.
Like I can lick my lips almost and kind of feel the back of my tongue right now is just sweetness. But the bitterness lasted for a while and then it tailed off and I kept the finish that I did like.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. This has been multi-layered for me across the board, just like you guys.
Yeah.
But, do you have kind of a ranking idea for your finish?
The one note that I'm getting, I don't know if you guys will agree, if you had like a s'more, take out the chocolate. So you got the graham cracker and somebody burnt the marshmallow, like just burn it.
Don't say that.
You know
Shane
what
don't
I
like
mean?
charred stuff.
Like just burnt the marshmallow and stuck it in between two graham crackers.
You better piss Shane off.
That's what I feel like the finish is like because graham cracker, some marshmallow creaminess, and then there's that burnt, like charred marshmallow.
I see why you say that.
And it's just
why you say it.
I'm not getting that at all.
I think for you, you're thinking of, you said that cheesecake. There's something slightly savory.
It's savory, funky
to it. You know what I mean?
To me, it's a mixture. That's why I said it walks the line of this sweet and savory. Like
but
there's
something tannic or charred that I don't love in the finish. But I agree with both of you. The finish is long. I haven't had a sip in a while. I sipped that glass down probably 2.5, 3 minutes ago. I'm still tasting it.
Yeah.
Like
I want to put this in a blind.
I would love to put this in a blind, Shane. I think
it would do really good in a blind.
Yep.
If I didn't know what I was talking about, I'd be like, wow, this is super complex. But now since I know what I'm talking about, all that to say, the finish to me is the best part of the whiskey. Because it's long, it's complex.
It is.
It's got things I don't love, but at the same time, it is long and complex. So all that to say, that's a 3.5 finish for me, moving it up in comparison.
Sure.
So I think that's above average finish, even though there's something stringent to it.
Go ahead with your overall. We'll go back down.
Overall, I think I'm going to slice it in the middle. Yeah. I think I'm going to slice it in the middle. I'm going to go 3.3 on it.
That's not crazy to me. Like a lot of time, even I disagree in some form or fashion, but I don't think that's crazy. Like I see why you say that. I will say this much. I recommend you all going to get this bottle. If you find this bottle and you want to try something a little different, this is good. This is really good no matter what. It's very enjoyable. In my opinion, I'm going to give this a 3.7 crowns out of 5 total. I'm kind of all over the place with some of my rankings. I kind of feel like some of the numbers are kind of different, but I feel like 3.7 is appropriate. I think it's very, very good. I enjoy this on my shelf. When this is gone, I will get another bottle.
Yeah.
Personally. Worth it to me. So I think I enjoy it.
I think I'm going to go, I'm going to sit with you. 3.7.
Yeah?
I think 3.7 is fair. Just kind of like Bryson's rate, I'm going to reiterate. I think it's a Lexington product. If you guys are local, it's definitely a brand that you guys should visit. They're quickly blowing up, and I think that they'll be a household name here soon.
I think so.
So they're doing a great job. I mean, the entire marketing looks great. The bottle is cool. The story is cool. The whiskey's good. And what's also unique is we're sitting here, with different palates and all that, and we're all finding different things to enjoy about it. So that's why I think everybody at least needs to try this.
Yeah.
Because it's just however he's blended this or whatever is going on with this, it's not just typical MGP stuff. I mean, there's definitely some proprietary tastes and flavors that have been built with this brand that I really enjoy.
I think this is one it's going to be up and coming. They're only just going to get better.
Here's what fires me up about it, and to just agree with your guys' sentiments there. This is batch 2, and we're getting that quality out of a smaller batch product.
Yeah.
I mean, once they get to 3, 4, they hear some of those things that maybe people are critiquing, and the fact that we're critiquing it so hard.
That's what I'm saying. We got this thing under a microscope, like we're trying EHL barrel proof or something. Like,
for this to be their second batch of this, like
we're hard on a whiskey too. That's the other thing too.
So,
like we've tried. I mean, between us all, we've probably tried.
Catch me when this is at batch 4 or 5.
We should be subjective, but yes,
we could be. I think we could all be in the 4s.
I think so. So I mean, with that being said, we're comparing that to a lot of stuff. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Story's cool. The vibe of the bottle is awesome. And we appreciate you guys listening on that. We are now going to move into something that we like to call the King's Court. Go ahead and tune out if you don't want to hear what we got to say about nothing that has anything to do with whiskey. But right now, so we talk about sports very often. It's kind of what we do. We're athletes ourselves, at least former. And right now, we're talking about what? We're going back to NBA topics? Or is that what we settled on?
Yeah, I think we're as we're filming this, we're an All-Star weekend.
Yeah, All-Star weekend's happening.
Slam dunk contest, All-Star game, 3-point contest.
I should be in a slam dunk contest.
You actually should.
Stars.
You should, Shane. But they need to lower the rim to
that'd be sick.
1 foot.
Relax.
I should lower to 1 foot.
I'd be in the pool, like in the pool dunk contest. So like if you're at in the pool.
Is that what you would be in? So okay, so I know we had talked about this briefly. We talked about All-Star Weekend. We wanted to talk about, but we're talking about dunk contest. So let's get into specifically the dunk contest. Mm-hmm. First of all, did y'all watch that fully, or did you see highlights?
Mac McClung.
Here was my issue, and I think that it was maybe it was Kenny Smith that was saying it. The judges were so inconsistent this year.
Yeah.
Like to me, Jacob Toppin he did not get the love he deserved for some of those dunks. It looked fluid. His head is over the rim.
Yeah, true.
Jaime Jaquez, he just did okay. I think he's just a solid dunker. Mac McClung, he won't get dethroned. He won't get dethroned.
You saw what he had on his chest. So.
And then
you saw what team he was
on.
Osceola Magic.
got no response.
Come on,
he might as well have been wearing the Lexington counterclocks.
They're going back to the Legends. Did you see that?
Oh, word?
Yeah. I just
they are. They are.
God, they got to a game.
Yeah. They got bought by some investment group out of somewhere north of here, I think, or east of here, and they've got a couple other teams already, I think. So they're going to be a part of a group. But
bro, I wonder how much we should put some advertising out there. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Let's look into that.
Yeah. But with the dunk contest, back to that.
Wrong
sport.
Yeah,
but this is King's Court. We're allowed to do whatever we want to. If you don't want to listen, turn it off. That's why we do it at the end. But anyway, I think what we talked about earlier too, we were going to mention dunk contest. And then if we could see one guy who we have not seen in a dunk contest, no matter if they're young, old, or whatever, who would it be? We're talking about right now. Even right now.
You like to see LeBron right now?
Not young LeBron, like LeBron right now.
Bro.
He still would bang out. I mean, it still would be impressive. But I just think that like LeBron owed us a dunk competition. We never got one.
Never got one.
That frustrates me. He owed us one.
LeBron owed us something besides the actual.
He owed us one.
Game.
Give me a skills comp, LeBron. I really want to see.
Even if he hopped in like the 3-point contest, I would like to see him do something.
I think younger. Well, I say younger. He's young at the moment, but early. Like first season Zion Williamson. I mean, imagine him in that dunk contest.
That would be nuts.
But like, you ever see like his like in-game Duke dunks?
They were nasty.
He can do anything.
Bro,
it was just an effort and just it seemed like it's just an effort and just lock in.
The bunnies were crazy. Now he's
got to
guy.
lock in.
I was gonna say fat, but
when he locks in and focuses, he's unstoppable. Still.
Right.
He just needs to get it together. But I think that Zion's a good one.
Yeah.
For me, that's tough. Trying to think of somebody I haven't seen.
Besides. I don't really have a true answer, honestly.
God, that's kind of hard. Honestly, you know who I think would be decent, would be solid at it? Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
I feel like Brandon Miller might put down some stuff. I think he's got a kind of a slept-on vertical. Like, everybody knows he's athletic, but he got them long arms. He's 6'7". I think he gives himself enough time to do some stuff in the air. He would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
I think.
Joe Ingles for the Magic.
Relax, bro. I actually, seriously, I could get out there.
And do what? Watch?
Something.
Throw
over Joe Ingles? You might as well put Brian Scalabrine out there.
Hey, it's still the hardest thing ever, Brian Scalabrine, to them kids, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. When he tore him up, That's what people don't
that's
understand how
tough.
good NBA players really are, bro.
Yeah.
You cannot.
But no, I think the dunk contest is, to me, and tell me if you guys disagree, I think the dunk contest to me is getting a little old.
It's whack.
You know what I mean?
The good players need to do it.
Unfortunately,
That's what they said.
Zach
Main
LaVine
players
and
need to do
Aaron
it.
Gordon
Yes.
ruined it. They did. We had 2 years of like amazing dunk contests.
Incredible dunk contest.
And then the dunks are either copycats or like slightly under those.
Well, that's why I was
to me.
upset when Mac McClung did, and he got like 46s and 47s. The dude held the ball in the air. He jumped, picked the ball up, threw it to himself in the air, and then dunked it. Did you see that one?
Yeah, that was
So
nasty.
like Kenny Smith was like, what do you want him to do? If that's not a 50, what else can he, a front flip?
Yeah.
Like, so then like Jaylen Brown, he had some good dunks, but like he would come and do something that was not nearly as difficult or new or anything, and they graded him higher. But I think we need to see bigger name players like Jaylen Brown, which I'm glad he did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some guys that are really good players all the way around, because that's going to get people.
And just have fun, man. Like, just get out there and have fun. I think for our generation, now take this with the, not Michael Jordan, not all that. But like for our generation, I liked when Blake Griffin.
Oh my God, Blake Griffin was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Nate
saying.
Robinson,
but these are all stars.
Nate Robinson was
That was
cold.
entertaining.
And the guys you're naming, though, they're also all stars. I want to see guys who are playing ball.
Playing in the All-Star game.
I mean,
Nate Robinson was cold.
Nate Robinson was. We also got spoiled. Yeah, we did.
I think that those. Now, this is kind of mean kind of statement, but I'm not in the NBA, so whatever. But I think the NBA All-Star events should be exclusive to All-Stars.
Yeah.
You know what, Shane? I hadn't really thought about that exactly, but that's not crazy.
You got to make the All-Star game, and if you're in the All-Star game, they should require them to do. I think if anything, you just say, "Hey, you're in the All-Star game. You're required to do."
The NFL does it now. I mean, everybody who's in. Well, obviously the Pro Bowl is a little different now. It's because it's flag football, but they had the skills challenge.
Yeah,
I thought the Pro Bowl was really great this year with the, they had the flag football, but all the other games that added to the point.
They're
total.
doing a good job for them not playing.
Cool.
If they're not going to play tackle football,
Yeah.
which I obviously want to see, but I get why.
Yeah.
Then they're doing a great job.
So,
But with that being said, we're just blabbering on like we always do. We'll probably keep doing it when the camera gets shut off. But thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. We will say this: we keep saying we have some big stuff coming. We have some big stuff coming. But we really, really do, and it's really cool to see some of the progress that we're making. We do have a bourbon coming out at some point.
Soon.
We don't know exactly when,
Yep.
but relatively soon. And that could be, within a year, hopefully, is kind of what we're looking at. Maybe sooner, maybe a little longer, something like that. I won't put necessarily time frame on it because we don't know what the Lord has for us. But we do know that we are working hard, and we've got some really cool things that are in the works. And it's going to take us a little bit of time, but things are trending in the right direction. And the entire point of this podcast was to eventually create our own brand, not just have a podcast. And that's exactly what we're doing together. Super proud of these guys, man. We all three have different strengths and weaknesses, and we all use those to our benefit. And I think that we're going to be able to come up with something really awesome and fulfill a lot of what we have worked towards. So
I think we will, as long as we keep God in the forefront.
We always will, man. And I think that's the thing for us is just, stay blessed, stay humble, appreciate the opportunities given to us, and, go get after it. And, I hope to clip some of these things that we're saying right now one day and play them back. I think about that all the time because I have that much faith in you guys and faith in, what the Lord has for us. So with that being said, we are out of here.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate your guys' support. If you like what you're seeing, please check us out on
YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah. And one last thing, another shout out, another thank you to Happy Hour Bar and Liquor Store here in Nicholasville, Kentucky. You guys can check this place out.